Listen, you've been caring too much for too long, worrying about things that don't matter, stressing over people who don't care, breaking yourself just to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. And it's exhausting, isn't it? It drains you, steals your peace, and robs you of the life you were meant to live. But what if I told you there's a way out? What if I told you that the moment you stop caring about things that don't serve you, everything starts to fall into place? Caring too much about the wrong things is what's been holding you back. And that changes today. There comes a time when you have to ask yourself why you feel so tired, so burdened, and so drained. You walk around with the weight of expectations on your shoulders, the pressure to be perfect, the need to be accepted, the unspoken obligation to meet standards that were never even yours. It's like carrying a backpack full of rocks that someone else put there, and you've done it for so long that you think it belongs to you, but it doesn't. It never did. You weren't born to live under the weight of other people's opinions, or to be a prisoner to their definition of success, beauty, or worth. Every day you carry this invisible load that stops you from breathing freely, walking confidently, or truly living. But the truth is, the weight you carry was never yours. You took it on because someone told you to, not because you needed to, and now it's time to let it go. The longer you carry it, the more it feels like part of you. You start to think the stress, fear, guilt, and constant pressure to prove yourself are just normal, but they're not. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to please everyone, to be strong all the time, and to take responsibility for everyone else's happiness. And so you did. You carried their expectations, disappointments, judgments, and doubts, but none of those were ever yours. They were given to you by people who never dealt with their own, and now you're tired, wondering why you're never at peace. Because you were never meant to carry what wasn't yours. Life is hard enough without the extra weight. You're not responsible for fixing everyone, for living up to standards that don't match your soul. You're responsible for your peace, your path, your well-being. Everything else is extra, and you have the power to let it go. Think of how often you've given up your own happiness just to make others comfortable, silenced your voice so others wouldn't feel uneasy, swallowed your pain so you wouldn't be a burden. You've been carrying other people's emotions, relationship baggage, family expectations, and the weight of a world that keeps telling you who you should be and for what. It left you drained, questioning your worth, and believing your needs matter less than everyone else's. But you were never meant to live like this. You weren't meant to be a dumping ground for other people's insecurities. You weren't meant to keep proving yourself to people who will never be satisfied. The weight you carry has nothing to do with your true self. Your worth isn't defined by how much you can endure. Strength isn't about staying silent. It's about knowing when to let go. And yes, letting go is scary. You worry about people getting mad, calling you selfish, or being disappointed. That fear is what keeps you stuck, carrying weight that was never yours. But here's the truth. The people who love you will never be mad at you for choosing peace. The ones who respect you will support your boundaries. And the ones who get angry? They were never for you. You've bent over backward for people who wouldn't do the same, sacrificed your own joy to keep relationships alive that were never meant to last, all to be seen as a good person and avoid guilt. But guilt is a chain keeping you trapped in a life that isn't yours. You don't owe anyone your suffering or an explanation for why you're choosing yourself. People will always have opinions about who you should be, what's right or wrong, but they don't have to live with your choices. You do. And yet you've let their voices control your life. But what happens when you stop? At first it feels wrong and scary, but slowly you breathe easier. You feel lighter. You realize your happiness was always there. It was just buried under the weight of trying to be everything to everyone. And when you let go, when you release what never served you, something powerful happens. You become free. You start living for you. And that's when everything begins to align. There's a peace that comes with not carrying what isn't yours. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to please everyone. You don't have to meet unrealistic expectations. You are allowed to say no, to walk away, to protect your energy. And when you do, you'll realize just how much you've been carrying that was never yours. It's not your job to heal people who refuse to help themselves. It's not your job to keep people in your life who only bring pain. It's not your job to carry a world that never checked to see if you were okay. You deserve to put yourself first. You deserve to choose yourself. And when you finally do, you'll see how much of your life was spent holding what was never yours. Rejection feels personal. It cuts deep. It makes you question everything. Your worth, your path, your purpose. You start replaying it all, thinking you could have said or done something differently. But rejection isn't a loss. It's a redirection. It's protection. It's the universe guiding you away from what wasn't meant for you. Every no, every closed door, every person who walked away, it all pushed you towards something better. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize it all happened exactly the way it needed to. That relationship wasn't meant to last. That job wasn't yours. That friendship had run its course. Rejection isn't punishment. It's a hidden gift. When you stop seeing it as failure and start seeing it as guidance, everything shifts. You stop feeling like a victim. You start recognizing that every setback was a setup for something greater. And you finally start moving toward the life that was always waiting for you. Think about the moments when rejection hurt the most. The ones that kept you up at night, made you cry, and made you feel like the world was against you. Now think about where you are today and how those rejections helped you grow, taught you lessons, and removed the wrong people from your life. You wouldn't be who you are without them. Every no led you to a better yes, even when you didn't see it at the time. In the moment, rejection feels painful and confusing because we get stuck on what we wanted so badly that we don't stop to ask if it was even right for us. But if something was meant for you, it wouldn't have left. You wouldn't have had to force it. Real blessings don't need chasing. The people who walked away were supposed to. The jobs that passed on you were never yours. The relationships that ended were never your forever. You think that if something doesn't work out, it means you failed. But maybe failure just means it wasn't for you. Rejection is life's way of clearing space for something better. It's not the end, it's a redirection. The pain comes from tying your worth to the outcome, thinking that not getting what you want means you're not enough, but it doesn't. Rejection isn't about your value, it's about alignment. It means something greater is waiting, and you need to make space for it. When you finally understand that rejection is redirection, you stop taking it personally, stop letting it break you, and start letting it guide you. You stop chasing what's trying to leave. Stop begging people to stay. Stop forcing what's not meant to be. Because what's truly yours will never require you to lose yourself. You'll never need to beg for love, force opportunity, or convince anyone of your worth. When you let go of what's not meant to be, the right things start to come effortlessly. The right people stay, the right doors open, and your true path begins to reveal itself. Rejection becomes your teacher, showing you resilience, strength, and the power of letting go. Even the most successful people faced rejection over and over, but they didn't let it define them. They used it to keep going. Every no brought them closer to their yes. That's how you have to see it. Rejection means you're trying, you're growing, you're taking risks. The people who never get rejected are the ones who never try, never leave their comfort zones, but not you. You're meant for more. So when rejection comes, let it build you, not break you. Ask what it's teaching you, not why it happened. Remind yourself that it wasn't meant for you, and trust that better is coming. One day, you'll look back and be grateful things didn't work out the way you once hoped, because what came after was so much better. From the moment you were born, you were taught to seek approval from parents, teachers, friends. You learned that being accepted meant pleasing others, following rules, and fitting in. And slowly, without realizing it, you built your life around what others wanted. You let their opinions shape your choices and define your worth. But eventually, you started feeling empty, like no matter how much approval you got, it was never enough. That's because approval is a prison. It keeps you stuck in the cycle of pleasing and proving. silencing your own voice for the applause of others. You don't even realize you're trapped until the walls start closing in, until one day you wake up and realize you're living a life that isn't even yours. You'll never find peace chasing approval, because no matter how hard you try, someone will always disapprove, criticize, or want more. If you keep molding and shrinking yourself to meet everyone's expectations, you'll never be free. But the day you stop needing approval is the day peace begins. The day you stop explaining, justifying, and seeking validation is the day you finally breathe. Real peace comes from knowing your worth isn't up for debate, that you don't need permission to be happy, and that you're enough as you are. For too long, you've carried the weight of trying to be what others wanted, afraid of judgment, afraid of disappointing people, afraid of being alone, and it's cost you your dreams, your peace, your authenticity. But you weren't meant to live that way. You weren't meant to shape your life around people who don't have to live with your choices. The moment you stop needing their approval, everything changes. The weight lifts, the fear fades. You realize the only approval you ever needed was your own. Other people's opinions don't define you. Trying to make everyone happy only leaves you miserable. You start living for you, not for them. It's not your job to be what others want or to meet unrealistic expectations. You weren't put here to be a people pleaser or live by someone else's rule book. You were born to be yourself, walk your own path, and make choices that feel right to your soul. The people who truly love you will support you, even if they don't always understand. The ones who demand you shrink, who guilt you for choosing yourself, who withhold love unless you meet their standards, those people were never for you. And the moment you stop living for their approval, you take your power back. You stop bending, you stop apologizing, you stop explaining, and in that space of self-acceptance, peace arrives. For years, you've given people the power to control your emotions. If they approved, you felt good. If they didn't, you felt unworthy. You let their opinions shape your mood, your confidence, your identity. But why? Why give people that much control over your life? People will always have something to say, no matter what you do. There will always be someone who disagrees or thinks you should do things differently. And if you spend your life trying to please everyone, you'll lose yourself. But when you realize you don't need their approval, everything changes. Their words stop affecting you, their opinions stop shaking you, and their disapproval no longer wounds you, because you understand that your peace, happiness, and self-worth don't depend on them. You take your power back and start living for yourself, and that's when you become truly free. Freedom comes when you stop explaining yourself, stop overthinking every move, stop feeling guilty for doing what's best for you, and stop fearing disappointment. You can't live peacefully if you're always chasing approval. It's temporary, inconsistent, and never enough. If you base your happiness on it, you'll always feel empty. But when you decide you're enough, that your choices are valid, and your path is your own, peace finds you. You stop needing to justify yourself, stop feeling anxious about who accepts you, and start living in your truth. Knowing the right people will stay and the wrong ones will fade, and that is the deepest peace of all. Other people's opinions don't pay your bills or live your life, so why let them control it? The moment you stop seeking their approval, you begin living on your terms. You choose what makes you happy, not what makes others comfortable, and peace becomes inevitable. You stop wasting energy worrying about being liked or meeting unrealistic expectations. You just live, free from the need to be accepted. That's where true peace begins. When you realize the only approval you ever needed was your own. That's when you become untouchable. There comes a time when staying in certain situations is no longer an option. You feel it in your gut. It's time to go. Leaving isn't easy. It feels like tearing part of yourself away. You hesitate, overthink, convince yourself to stay a little longer, hoping it will get better. But staying where you're not valued, respected, or growing slowly destroys you. It drains you, makes you question your worth, and keeps you stuck in cycles you were never meant to stay in. Walking away isn't weakness. It's strength, courage, and self-respect. It's choosing yourself in a world that often tells you not to. It's realizing your peace, your happiness, and your future are worth more than temporary comfort. The moment you walk away from what no longer serves you, you take back your power. We're taught that holding on shows strength, that staying proves loyalty, that enduring pain is strong, but real strength is knowing when to walk away. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't care or didn't try or are weak. It means you finally know your worth. It means you won't settle for less. It means you're done giving your energy to what steals your peace. Too many people stay where they're breaking because they fear the unknown, worry what people will say, or cling to what's familiar even if it's hurting them. But once you find the courage to walk away, everything changes. You realize leaving isn't the end. It's the beginning of something better. Walking away isn't just about relationships. It's about anything that no longer aligns with who you're becoming. Friendships, environments, jobs, habits. It's knowing your time and energy are valuable and refusing to waste them on what brings more pain than joy. Walking away is an act of self-respect. It means setting boundaries, protecting your peace, choosing yourself, even if it disappoints others. And yes, people might not understand your decision. They may criticize you or try to make you feel guilty, but you don't owe them an explanation. You are the one who has to live with your choices. When you stop trying to please everyone and start choosing yourself, you realize how powerful walking away really is. People may guilt you into staying, remind you of the good times, make you question your choice, but you can't build your future on nostalgia. Just because something once made you happy doesn't mean it still does. Growth means outgrowing. It means evolving beyond people, places, and habits. It means recognizing when something is over and having the strength to let it go. Walking away isn't abandoning others. It's choosing not to abandon yourself. It's leaving spaces that require you to shrink, recognizing when you're not appreciated and removing yourself with dignity. You don't need permission to leave or validation to move on. The only approval you need is your own. And when you accept that, walking away becomes liberating. You weren't meant to stay stuck. You were meant to grow, to move forward, to evolve. But too often, people stay out of fear. Fear of being alone, of making the wrong choice. But what if the real mistake is staying somewhere that makes you unhappy? What if holding on is what's actually hurting you? Walking away doesn't mean you failed. It means you stopped failing yourself. It means you chose happiness over attachment. It means your future matters more than your past. Yes, it'll be hard. There will be doubt. But when you step away from what no longer serves you, you make space for what does. You open yourself to new opportunities, new connections, new beginnings that align with who you are becoming. Walking away is the ultimate act of self-respect. It's choosing your peace over the need to be liked. Too many stay in toxic situations because they fear judgment, but no one else has to live with your choices. Only you do. So stop letting others decide how you live. Stop staying in places that break you just to keep others comfortable. You deserve more. Walking away isn't just about leaving a situation. It's about taking your power back, standing strong in your choice to put your well-being first, and refusing to accept less than you truly deserve. When you finally choose yourself, you'll realize you should have walked away long ago. The most powerful thing you can do is step away from anything that no longer serves you. It's the ultimate declaration of self-worth. It means you're done settling, done compromising, done sacrificing your peace for people or situations that don't value you. Walking away takes courage. It means saying, I deserve better even when you're scared, and stepping into the unknown with faith that something greater is out there for you. And the truth is, something greater always is. The energy you put into the world matters. And when you let go of what's not meant for you, you create space for new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences that align with who you really are. It might feel painful at first, but the peace that follows is worth everything, because there's nothing more powerful than knowing you had the strength to choose yourself Nothing more freeing than realizing you don't have to stay where you're not appreciated. And nothing more life-changing than understanding that walking away isn't an ending. It's a new beginning. People often believe holding on is strength, that staying, waiting, and enduring shows how loyal or loving you are. But what if the real strength is in letting go of what hurts you? What if the real power is in choosing peace instead of pain, freedom instead of attachment? People stay in draining situations because they fear what letting go means. They confuse love with attachment, history with destiny, and loyalty with suffering. They convince themselves that if they just hold on a little longer, things will change. But sometimes the strongest thing you can do is recognize when something is no longer right for you and let it go. Holding on to what no longer serves you doesn't make you strong. It makes you stuck. It traps you in cycles that were never meant to last, steals your joy, and blocks the peace that comes from release. Real strength isn't about enduring pain forever. It's about knowing when to choose yourself. We've been taught that letting go means weakness, that if you really cared, you'd fight harder, stay longer, and tolerate more. But maybe real weakness is staying in places that break your spirit. There is so much peace in release, but most people never feel it because they're too afraid. They confuse pain with love and struggle with commitment. They believe if they just hold on, things will change. But sometimes holding on is the very thing keeping you from healing. Sometimes the only way to truly find yourself is to let go of everything that's holding you back. Letting go isn't easy. It might break you before it frees you, test everything you believe, and make you question your choices. But once you surrender, everything starts to shift. You feel lighter. You see things more clearly. You begin to understand that what you thought you needed was never really meant for you. And in that moment, you find your real strength. Most people think strength means putting up with pain, but real strength is knowing when you've had enough. It's walking away from what drains you, even when it hurts. It's refusing to settle for less than you know you deserve. It's choosing yourself, especially when others wouldn't. Holding on may feel like love, but love should never make you suffer. Love shouldn't make you feel unseen, unworthy, or unappreciated. If it does, it's not love. It's fear. Fear of loss, fear of starting over, fear of facing yourself. But once you let go, you realize what you were afraid of losing was never really yours. The moment you let go is the moment you take your power back. You stop waiting for people to change. You stop trying to fix what's out of your control. You stop allowing yourself to be treated like an option. Letting go is not about losing. It's about choosing. Choosing peace over pain. Choosing self-worth over needing validation. Choosing your future over your past. And yes, it will hurt. It will feel like something is missing. But that space isn't empty. It's where something better can finally begin. Once you make peace with that, you'll see that your strength was never in holding on. It was always in your ability to let go. Letting go doesn't mean you forgot, didn't care, or weren't invested. It simply means you finally realized your well-being matters more than your attachment, and that choosing yourself is the strongest thing you can do. People will only treat you the way you allow them to, and every day, in every interaction, you teach them how to treat you. You set the boundaries, you define what's okay and what's not. And when you let certain behaviors continue without addressing them, you're silently saying, this is what you expect. People aren't mind readers. They learn your limits based on what you tolerate. They test, they push, and they respond to what you allow. If you let people disrespect you, they'll keep doing it. If you let them take advantage of you, they will continue. And if you stay silent when mistreated, you give permission for it to happen again. Hoping people will be kind isn't enough. You have to demand it. You have to clearly and confidently communicate your standards and show through your actions that you won't accept anything less than respect. People will only treat you as well or as poorly as you let them. Too often, people complain about being mistreated without realizing they've played a role by allowing it. They give and give without setting limits, then feel used. They expect others to change without enforcing boundaries. But the truth is, nothing changes until you do. How people treat you is often a reflection of what you've tolerated in the past. If you've let them walk over you, they'll keep walking. If you've accepted weak apologies, they'll keep hurting you. If you've let them come and go freely, they'll never value your presence. This isn't about blaming yourself for what others have done. It's about realizing the power you have in deciding what you accept. You can't control people, but you can control how long they have access to your life. When you begin setting boundaries, people will either respect them or remove themselves. Either way, you win. The hardest part is being honest with yourself about where you allowed mistreatment. It takes courage to admit when you've been too forgiving, too passive, or too afraid to speak up. Sometimes the people who hurt you the most did so because you let them stay longer than they should have. You excused them, gave second chances, and waited for them to change, thinking your patience would fix them. But people don't change because you want them to. They change when they have to. And if there are no consequences, there's no reason for them to change. That's why boundaries are not just helpful, they're necessary. They teach people what is and isn't acceptable, they protect you from being used or disrespected, and they help you stand in your power. Many people avoid setting boundaries because they fear losing relationships, but what kind of relationship is it if it falls apart just because you asked for basic respect? If someone only wants to stay when they can mistreat you, that's not love, and it's not a connection worth holding on to. The people who truly care about you will respect your limits. They'll adjust their behavior, they won't guilt you, and they won't make you feel wrong for standing up for yourself. The ones who get angry, manipulate, or try to shame you were never really for you. And the sooner you let them go, the better. Because every time you accept mistreatment, you send the message that your needs don't matter, and that's not okay. There's nothing selfish about having standards for how you want to be treated. It's not too much to ask for respect, honesty, and basic decency, but you can't expect others to give you what you don't require. You can't sit around hoping people will change on their own. You have to decide that you're done accepting less than you deserve. You have to be willing to walk away from anyone who can't respect you. And yes, it will be hard. It will be uncomfortable. It will involve tough conversations and standing your ground. But the alternative is staying stuck in relationships where you're not valued, not seen, and not respected. And that's not a life you deserve. One of the most powerful things you can ever realize is that you don't have to tolerate what doesn't serve you. You don't have to accept disrespect. You don't have to keep explaining yourself to people who refuse to listen. You don't have to prove your worth to those who refuse to see it. The moment you understand this, everything starts to shift. You stop chasing people who don't care. You stop wasting energy on those who drain you. You stop feeling guilty for asking for what you need. And instead of worrying about who you might lose, you start focusing on not losing yourself. You begin to surround yourself with people who see your value, who respect your energy, and who uplift you. You start to understand that real love and real connection don't require you to shrink or suffer. And once you feel the peace that comes with that kind of alignment, you'll never settle for anything less again. People often avoid setting boundaries because they don't want to be labeled difficult, selfish, or too much. But the only people who will ever call you those things are the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries. The people who care about you won't make you feel bad for protecting your peace. They won't manipulate you into accepting mistreatment. They won't disappear just because you finally started standing up for yourself. But the ones who do, they're showing you who they are. They're showing you that their presence in your life was conditional on their ability to use you. And when you see that, you have to be willing to let them go. Because it's not just about what people do to you. It's about what you tolerate, what you excuse, and what you accept. The moment you decide you deserve better is the moment everything starts to change. The moment you stop explaining away disrespect, stop justifying mistreatment, and stop hoping people will improve without being held accountable, is the moment you reclaim your power. You prove to yourself that you're worthy of love, kindness, and respect. And the more you live by that truth,